The Hokage Tower after the battle. Why have the village elders been called today Hokage? Said an arrogant council member. The fourth Hokage is dead, replied the third. How is this possible? Said Haruno member. He had used the Shiki Fujin no just you against the Kyuubi to seal the beast. Then what did he had seal it into? Screamed out from the Hyuga council. He had seal it into a child, said the third Hokage. Kill the child, or kill the demon, could be heard from the council members. Enogh, shouted the third and releasing much killer intent as possible. But one man in the corner was plotting. Why don't we make the child a weapon for the village? Said Danzo. No, said the third, I will not let the fourth's legacy become a weapon. If this secret leaves this room you will be killed as soon as those words leave your mouth. Use as much killer intent as possible. In the hospital? No, I will not take that demon as my son, screamed Kushina. But Kushina, be reasonable, he is your son. There is no demon controlling him, replied the third. Old man, I'm not going to have my daughters be in the same room with the demon. I'm going to leave with them and go to Whirlpool, replied Kushina. But what about Naruto? The worried third said. Don't worry old man, my daughters will be back to kill him once he turns 14 at the Chunin exams, said Kushina. 2 months later, Hokage Tower. The third Hokage was in a problem. No one would adopt Naruto because the village knew of the Kyuubi in him. He didn't know how, but it had to be the work of the council. They could never hold a secret for their life. Maybe I should just put him in orphanage so that he could grow up with some friends. He is SSSSSSSSO wrong. He. So the newly reinstated third Hokage spent the rest of his day to look for an orphanage for little Naruto. I would have adopted him if I could. When he found an owner that was great with kids and didn't lose any family in the attack, he took baby Naruto there. Let me get the paperwork, Hokage-sama, said the owner. Great, even more paperwork for me in my office, replied the third. Then the men had a very good laugh. 2 years and 8 months later. When I had nothing else when he was a baby, so sue me. Naruto had just turned 3 years old and was already running around the village. The people from the village were looking at him saying demon brat under their breath or Kyuubi kid. Naruto was running to the Hokage Tower to go see Gigi, the third, but as he was getting closer people around the village were starting to form a mob. Little Naruto was getting scared. People were starting to say, kill the demon. They had weapons of all types. Naruto had been in situation like this before his Gigi saved him. Naruto didn't know where to run from the people until he got hit with the iron pipe. He was on the ground until he decided he just crawl up into a ball. The people were beating him with so many things, he could see his own blood on the floor. That was when a group of Chunin came and had asked what was going on. The villagers replied, beating the demon. One young Chunin had replied, why don't we help? When Naruto had heard this he had tried to get up. But he fell, so crawling was what he had to do to get away. But fate wanted to mess him up some more. Where are you going, little demon? A Chunin had said. Why don't we make sure he doesn't crawl, guys? Whispered another Chunin. Yeah, let's, said another. They had cut little Naruto's arm, they had to be scarred. Naruto couldn't see what was going but could feel kicking, punching and hitting with objects against his body. It went for hours before the Hokage came and arrested those Chunin and people who formed the mob. At the hospital, the Hokage was next to the boy's bed. He was still unconscious. The Hokage couldn't believe how long the boy took the beating. The boy was wrapped in bandages. You could only see his eyes and hair if you look at him straight. Gigi, rasped out of Naruto's mouth. Why do they hate me so much? As tears went into his eyes. The third had to lie. He couldn't tell the boy the truth. I don't know, Naruto. I don't know why they hate you so much, as the Hokage lied. Look, Naruto, how would you like a place to live, your own apartment? Sure, I would love that, Gigi, as the third smiled at seeing Naruto so happy. At Naruto's new apartment, there were 2 rooms, a bathroom and a living bedroom with a mini fridge. Naruto was happy that he had somewhere to live after the orphanage kicked him out as soon as he turned 3. He thanked his Gigi so much for his gift. He could now have a place to live happily. 2 years later, Naruto didn't know he wasn't supposed to come out today, because today was the October 10th, the day of Kyuubi attack. There were people chasing after him, but fate was not on his side either today, for as young Naruto tripped as he ran, giving the villagers enough time for them to catch him. They hit Naruto with pipes as he tried to get up. He then remembered his horrible beating once when he was a little kid. They had just beat him for 2 hours when a group of Saiyans and ninjas came up and had said, "Why don't we take the demon off your hands?" The villages were happy the Saiyans were taking in part of the death off the demon. The ninjas and Saiyans brought the bloody boy out to the training field where they used the boy as target practice. 4 hours later, the Saiyans and ninjas left the boy in the field, bloody and burned boy in the field. There were ki blast marks and Judas marks were all over the boy and training ground. He was bleeding heavily and crying, www.hhh. Why? D-do. SS. E. E. T. 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 H. H. I. 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 S. 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 K. E. P. Ha. Pen.I.ng. T. O. M. E. He had cried out. The Hokage and Anbu with some Saiyans found him an hour later near the door of death. Back to the hospital. Naruto laid in that same bed again with the Hokage right next to him sitting in that same chair. Every day he was beaten, he was getting tried. So then he asked, "Gigi, why do they hate me so much?" he rasped out. "I still don't know, Naruto, but you will have to be strong. I don't think I can, Gigi, they keep hurting me, calling me names. I feel like I'm going to break." The Thrid was getting really worried about Naruto, so he had called a Yamanaka. Yamanaka were a special type of Saiyans that were also part human that could look into other people's mind. The third wanted Carl Yamanaka to see the state of Naruto's mind. In Naruto's mindscape, many parts of his mind were falling apart and some even destroying themselves, and as he walked he saw the Kyuubi's cage, but the beast was sleeping. Won't wake up until he is 8 years old. Back at the Hokage Tower, Naruto's mind is slowly eating itself. Soon he will be nothing more than a doll like Danzo's roots. As Yam finished his report, "Thank you," said the third Hokage. He knew Naruto's life was bad, but not that bad. "Stop being crazy, old man. Anything could just destroy Naruto's mind, so he had to make sure that nothing bad ever happened to him." 3 years later, Naruto was running from a mob once again. This time they were out for more blood than before. They had somehow cornered Naruto into an alleyway. The civilians had grabbed the 8-year-old Naruto's limbs and the Saiyans started pounding at his body. The ninjas were hitting with all types of weapons. The boy was thinking he was hated by everyone no matter even if he did nothing. He then was thinking no one cared, not even the third, because he can never save him in time from the beatings. And that's when his mind broke. The wind started to gather around him. "What is he doing?" "Ah!" Naruto screamed out. Energy started to shoot around. "It's over 9,000. The energy was blue and going higher than the alley. The people and ninja were getting scared. The Saiyans were starting to teleport it out of there so they were not involved. Naruto then moved at a speed of a Juin ninja and destroyed the Chuin and Genin. One of Naruto's Rage's moves. Rage's fist. The third then appeared and hit with soft punch to the stomach. Which was bricks to Naruto. "I think we lost the boy this time." We go back to one of the days Naruto was getting beaten. A little girl with dark long hair was watching people beat a little boy. She wanted to help the boy, but her father was holding her back. "You want to know who she is? Well, too bad you got to wait, fool." She was wondering why her father wouldn't want to help the kid. "Daddy, why won't you help him? He's getting hurt," said the girl. Her father said nothing to her. Later that day, she was walking in the park. I forgot this is when Naruto was 7, 1 year before he snapped. She then heard crying under the bridge, and she saw the boy who got beaten. "Are you okay?" the girl had asked. "Are you going to hurt me?" The boy said. "They don't know each other's names, guys, come on." "No, I would never hurt you. And you didn't even do anything," the girl had said. As she looks into his bright blue eyes and he had looked into her jet black eyes. "What is your name?" the girl had asked. "It's Naruto Uzumaki." "What's yours?" he said. "My name is Miko Uchiha." "Alright then, Naruto, see you later." When she got home her cheeks were slightly red from seeing Naruto's smile and he was looking at her. "So it seems my daughter has a crush," Makoto had said. "What? No, I don't, Mom," Miko embarrassedly said back. "Come on, you can tell me who it is," the mother said to her daughter. N.R. 2. Z.Ma. She had whispered. "What was that?" Her mother said. "It's Naruto Uzumaki," she finally said. "HHMM, he is a nice boy for you," Makoto said. "MMMMMMOMMMM." Miko seemed. "Ooh, your mom got you." 1 year later, she was watching her crush kill those people for hurting him. and then the third knocked him out and went to the hospital. She was still for a few minutes before chasing after the third and Naruto to the hospital. Flashback over. Wasted too much energy, must drink energy drinks. Yes, am back. Now on with the story. The hospital? The third had his Anbu nearby because they didn't want to leave. Damn, they an 8-year-old is going to kill the strongest ninja in the village. Bullshit. The third had Yam enter Naruto's mind once again and he came back with dreadful news. His will is broken, Hokage-sama. His mind is destroyed. The Hokage was sad and angry, sad because the boy he knew was gone and angry because it's this village's arrogance. We have lost a great ninja and I have failed his father. The third soon left with the Anbu and Yam. Miko came out of her hiding place and sat next to Naruto's bed. He was staring blankly at the ceiling. Miko was sad for Naruto. Her crush, he had nothing left, no will to live. She then did one thing she wanted to do for the past year. Come you guys, they're just 8, you perverts. She leaned down to be face to face with Naruto and gave him a soft kiss on the mouth as she shed some tears. She then laid there right next to him and fell asleep. Uchiha compound. Sorry it took so long to get back with the story, but needed to introduce the OC that is going to be with Naruto. As Sasuke got back to the compound, he could smell blood. He then saw his dead family members all over the compound. Maybe mom and dad are okay and they're with Miko and Itachi. He had rushed to his parents' room to see if he was right. When he went in, he saw his parents dead with Itachi holding a bloody sword, but when he looked around he didn't see Miko's body anywhere, so she had to be alive. Itachi, why did you kill everyone? Seemed Sasuke. So that I can test my limits, Itachi calmly stated. Itachi then teleported and kicked Sasuke in the gut and grabbed him by the throat and said one word, Tsukiyomi, and the screams could be heard all around Konoha. Hokage Tower. The third heard the scream and had sent every Anbu that were on duty to the area of which it came. He had to rush back to the hospital to see if Naruto was all right. The hospital? When the third had got back to the hospital and went to Naruto's room, he saw something that would have made him smile. The two 8-year-olds sleeping in the same bed, Miko using Naruto's chest as a pillow. He then summoned some Anbu guards that did not hate Naruto and left to search where the scream came from. He then went to his office to get the report on what happened. The council room. The Uchiha clan is dead except for 2 people, Sasuke and Miko, said the third. A scream of what was heard through the rooms by the council. Who had killed them? Said several members. The heir to the clan, Itachi, replied the third. Alright, let us end this and get back with our families because I have much paperwork to do in morning, said the third. At the hospital, Naruto was looking at Miko with his blank eyes. He knew she kissed him but he didn't know why. He could understand why. He then heard her say, Naruto, I like you a lot. She was talking in her sleep, but that had brought some tears into his eyes, and he didn't know why. She then woke up to see his blue eyes that are now dull looking down at her jet black ones. She then tried to lean up into his arms to get another kiss. That's until the third Hokage busted in. Man, the boy does work fast. Naruto, I can see you are all right, the third said, but Naruto replied in a dulled tone. Hokage-sama, I will serve you until the day I die because you are the only one that ever showed kindness to me. Miko and the third were shocked because he would always call the third Gigi. The Hokage was saddened once again because he remembered the village killing the emotions of a child. He would tell Miko of her family's death tomorrow. Miko, stay in this room with Naruto for the night, said the third. Why, I need to go home, Miko had replied. The third had no option now. Your clan has murder by your father, Itachi. No, it can't be, as tears started rolling down her face. Please stay with Naruto so he can keep you company, said the third. Naruto, not knowing what to do, did the one thing the third used to do when he cried. He hugged her. Miko calmed down and fell asleep in his arms once again. Naruto can still be saved yet. Naruto, tomorrow bring Miko with you to the Hokage Tower when I send the Anbu. I'm going to train you for a bit, replied the third. Naruto nodded at this, and when the third left the room, Naruto slowly fell asleep while looking down at the sleeping Miko. Hospital. Don't they wake up there a lot? Naruto was feeling a weight on him until he realized it was Miko sleeping on top of him. He had to think of a way to wake the girl up until he heard her whimper. She was crying, must be having a bad dream, he said. Miko dreams. She was at her clan compound watching her entire family getting slaughtered, and then she saw her crush Naruto dead and cold on the ground. He was killed by Itachi with Naruto's blood on his sword. Back at the hospital, she was laying on something soft until she looked up and realized it was Naruto. While looking at his face, she then looked down because she was hiding her blush. "Come on, we have to get going to see the Hokage," said Naruto in a dull voice as they were getting up and Anbu teleported into the room. "Come with me. We will meet with Hokage-sama." They both nodded and teleported with the Anbu out of the room. Training Ground 69. My cousin laughs at this number. When they got there they saw the Hokage. "Alright both of you, I want to see how high you guys' power level can go. Miko, I want you to go first," said the third. "Alright Hokage-sama," replied Miko. Her power level was increasing that you could see it. "Dog, I want you to check her power level," said the third. He then brought out a scouter to check her power level. The numbers on the scouter were going up, it then stopped around 8,784, and that's when she started to power down. "Alright Naruto, it's your turn to power up," said the third. "Yes Hokage-sama," said Naruto in the same dull tone. The third was hurt because he didn't get called GG or old man anymore. "Ah!" Naruto screamed out. Dog then checked the scouter once more to see the boy's power level. Though it would be low, but it was higher than 10,000. It's over 9,000. It was 11,453. The ground was shaking and the rocks were flying above his head. "Alright Naruto, stop," the third had said. Naruto then dropped his power level back to normal. "Alright Naruto and Miko, I'm going to show you how to shoot ki blasts. What you do is concentrate energy to your hand and throw it at your enemy." Miko concentrated energy to her hand. The color of the energy was like a dark blue color, and that's when she threw it at a post. It was destroyed as soon as the energy touched it. "Naruto, you do the same," the third said again. When Naruto concentrated energy to his hand, he got energy that was the color orange, and when he threw the blast he did the same amount of damage as Miko. "Alright dog, bring Naruto and Miko back to the Uchiha compound." The third said. Miko didn't want to go back, but because she was with Naruto she might have the courage to. Hospital. The third was in the room of Sasuke Uchiha. "He will be in a coma state for a while Hokage-sama," replied the doctor. "Thank you for the report," said the third. "For now Miko is the only Uchiha left for now," realized the third. "I hope she is fine with Naruto for her only company for now. More than you know, old man." Uchiha compound. "They cleaned up this place pretty good, right Miko?" said Naruto. "Yeah, they did." "Alright, let me give you the tour of the compound." "Alright Naruto." "Okay," he said plainly. 2 hours later. "This is where you will sleep," Miko had said, finally finished with tour. "But isn't this your room?" Naruto had replied. "I don't want to sleep by myself for a while because of this place," she finally said, even though it wasn't the whole truth. "Alright then, it's getting late, so why don't we go to bed?" As he went to bed, she went to the opposite side of him. Naruto was able to fall asleep, but she couldn't, so as slowly as possible she had cuddled onto Naruto and was finally able to fall asleep, ready for the training tomorrow from the third Hokage. Uchiha compound in the morning. Miko had awakened once again on Naruto's chest once again. This time when she looked up she could see him sleeping. He looked handsome while he was asleep. She then lifted her hands to the whisker birthmarks and started to move her hand along them, which was causing Naruto to purr like a fox. When Naruto started to purr, it caused her to blush that he was purring because of her. That's when Naruto woke up to find out what was touching his face. He looked at the girl who was touching his face. "Miko, can you stop? We need to get up to train with Hokage," said Naruto, surprising her. She then got off of him and led him into the kitchen where they got a bowl of cereal each. "Miko, is there a training field on the compound used for Saiyans?" said Naruto. "Yeah, there is. It's in the back of the compound," Miko had replied. "So after we finish eating, let's go to the field and train with the ki blast the Hokage-sama taught us," Naruto said. "Maybe I can get him to open up." "I think so," Miko had though. At the back of the compound 5 hours later. The training ground for Saiyans was covered in blasts marks by Naruto and Miko. They had managed to somehow throw as many ki blasts at their dummy targets and can now throw their ki blast at a faster rate. They were tired of throwing their ki when the Hokage appeared. "So it seems you have been practicing with your ki and you can both throw it out at a faster rate." The third smiled, knowing they're going to be powerful. "Alright, put this on," as he gave each child 30 pounds of weight. They felt like they couldn't move. Hokage-sama, why give us so much weight? Miko asked. So you can build up your speed and power. You do want to get stronger. The Hokage said. They both got up and got near a dummy and started punching and kicking the dummy. Then later that day they were tired and sweating. I'm going to go and take a bath, Naruto had said. Alright, me too, Miko said. They have a lot of bathrooms in the house. I mean, come on, the entire house waiting to use one bathroom. When they were both done with baths, they were dressed in PJs. Miko wearing a black nightgown and Naruto wearing a white t-shirt and black shorts. They were both blushing. Naruto was blushing because of what she was wearing and Miko was blushing because of the cloths he was wearing. It was going to be interesting living together, just Naruto and Miko for a while. 3 years later. Those long years have passed of which being with each other. They had grown closer, they had more weight on. Both are carrying 270 pounds on their arms and legs. Their power level went up to back, I will tell you later. I mean, they have been training for 3 years. Miko had got 2 new energy moves that she could use with her ki. They were called Great Fire Beam, where she sends a giant ball of ki right at you. Good if you get up close. And the second one is Mythical Fire, is when she fires multiple ki blasts at the area until her enemy is either hurt or dead. But Naruto was now in more of control of the combo Rage's Fist. He hits you into the air and starts knocking you around like a beanbag and finishes you by kicking you into the ground. Back at the Saiyan training field, the two kids were sparring with each other, while Miko used her family's fighting style and Naruto just street fought. But in the end Miko kicked Naruto's ass. Alright Miko, I'm going to go and take a bath, said Naruto as he was leaving to the bath. Miko then got a perverted look on her face as she grabbed her camera and sneakily got into a hiding place where she could take pictures. After the bath, as both were leaving, one had the feeling of him being clean, but dirty as well, and the other was a very happy person. Naruto had gotten dressed and went to the pouch to look at the sky. Miko was also there as well. When the third appeared, do you both want to go to the academy? He asked the two Saiyans. Yeah, would want to, Hokage-sama, said Naruto. Yeah, my parents would be proud, said Miko. Alright, then my Anbu will show you the way to the academy tomorrow, said the third. Hey Miko, let's go to bed, said Naruto. Alright, see you there, replied Miko as she went to another room to change. Inside the compound, both Naruto and Miko were tried as they went to the same room they had both slept in for 3 years. They were wearing the same cloths, but Naruto's was much smaller, which almost caused Miko to get nosebleed. We got to go shopping for you tomorrow, Naruto, Miko shakingly said. Alright, but let's go to bed, Naruto said, not noticing the nosebleed she almost had. He then laid down in the bed and Miko put her head on his chest and fell asleep. She dosed that every time. I wonder why, Naruto, you are so dense. Next morning, Naruto had woke up to the smell of bacon, and wondering where the smell was coming from as he journeyed to kitchen. He then saw Miko next to the stove trying to make pancakes, which she was doing horrible. He had tried her food once and he was in the bathroom for 3 days. He tried sneaking out, but she had caught the yellow hair that was at the corner of her eye. Where are you going, Naruto? She had said, sweet but anger tone. Out for some air, Naruto shakingly said. Not until you eat my food. And that's how every morning began in Uchiha compound. Later in the training field after breakfast, the two friends were sparring once again until Miko could start seeing Naruto go a lot slower than normal. Hey Naruto, why are you going slower? Said Miko. Well, but don't we always train like this? Naruto said. That was until he looked into her eyes. Miko, your eyes are different, he said in a surprised tone. She then, though she must have unlocked her Sharingan. She then went by a pound near the training field to see what they look like. Of course Naruto followed her. When she looked into the water she could see 2 commas in her left eye and 1 comma in her right one. I did it, I unlocked my family's blood limit, she screamed happily. But as soon as she did, the third Hokage teleported right before them. So you unlocked the Sharingan? The third said. Yeah, I did see, Miko said as if she was 3. Alright. But I had no spare Anbu, so I'm going to take to the academy. The third replied. Alright, get whatever you're going to bring inside the compound and come meet me up front. In the front of the compound, the third could see both Naruto and Miko walking towards him, with Naruto holding a bag and Miko holding nothing. What's in the bag? The third asked. It's Miko's lunch, she packed for us to eat at the academy, Hokage-sama. Naruto replied. The third nodded and then showed them the way to the academy. At the academy. Lunch bell. When the bell rang, the students cleared out of class to go eat. Miko and Naruto stood in the class. Naruto opened the bag to find 2 sandwiches. He then gave one to Miko and they both started eating. They eaten their sandwiches in 10 minutes, so for the rest of the time they talked. So Naruto, how do you like the academy? Miko had asked. It's alright, he said in the same dulled tone. There are 2 girls that really annoy, he then said. Let me guess, Sakura and Ino, Miko said. Right on the money. It's just that they're too loud to be ninja, Naruto said. Well then you must be a freak, Sakura then said, because she had just gotten back in the room. You'll never cut it to be a ninja, he then said. She was about to respond when the bell rang. The rookie 9 are still wearing the same cloths they had in the anime. But I will give Miko and Naruto's cloths at the end of the chapter. Alright, everyone sit down and be quiet, Iruka said. But because no one wanted to stay quiet, he then yelled out at them, shut up. That's when all of them started to be quiet. Alright everyone, let's practice the just you I told you. 2 years later. It had been a long 2 years, but they've been worth it because it was June and the day they become warriors and ninjas. Well, the Saiyans are ninjas as well, but none of them can fly because only the first Saiyans that came to the planet can. They were calling people into the room one by one to take a test. Miko had already got the test and had her headband. Now it was Naruto's turn as he went into the room. The Hokage, Iruka, and Mizuka were in the room. The first test was a henge which Naruto turned into the 4th Hokage, but looked weird with dark and cold eyes. The second test was Bunshin no Just You test, so when Naruto went to do the Just You, Mizuka released the Genjutsu. The third test was a Kawurimi no Jutsu which Naruto switched with a chair. The fourth test was to shoot a ki blast and he passed it with flying colors. And the fifth test was to hit a machine to test his strength. The score was 20 and he got 15 because Mizuki rigged the machine for Naruto to fail. I'm sorry Naruto, you can't become ninja because you have too low grades, Iruka said. Naruto then just went outside, calm himself down about not passing. Miko saw him when he was on his way out and saw he didn't have a headband. It looks like the dead last couldn't pass a simple test, idiot, said Sakura. Shut up you stupid bitch, Miko yelled out. Outside the academy. Naruto was outside on the only swing in the academy. He was sad that he didn't pass and could be with his only friend. That's when Mizuki appeared. Hey Naruto, I know a way for you to pass. You do? He said in a dulled tone. Yeah, if you steal the forbidden scroll you pass the test and become a ninja. And all you have to do is learn a Just You and energy attack from the scroll, replied Mizuki. Really, are you sure? In a more emotion tune, almost happy he was going to be with his friend. But it has to be tonight. Can you do, Naruto? Of course I can. Miko then came running outside to see if Naruto is alright, but saw him there smiling happily at her, which was causing her to blush. It's okay, I found another way to pass, he said. And how are you going to? She asked because she wanted to know. Don't worry, just sit on the swing, he said, and as she did he started to push her higher and higher. Yeah, this is so much fun, she had screamed, and at that Naruto had smiled a true smile. Later that night, Naruto did the same thing he did to get the stole. He was running though the forest as fast as he could to get to the place to meet Mizuki. When he had gotten to the location, he saw no one around, so decided to practice the Just You and energy attack. Kage Bunshin no Just You was the first one on the list. More clones, I suck at those. Well, maybe I should try it out, Naruto said. 30 minutes later. Still no Mizuki. Well, no, I will have time to learn the energy attack. Let's see, it's called Big Bang Explosion. Naruto said the move causes the user to launch multiple blasts all over the field, causing large explosions. I can do this, he then said. 30 minutes later. I'm going to need more practice to master this move, Naruto said to himself. Then Iruka busted into the clearing. Naruto, what are you doing? Iruka screamed. But Iruka-sensei, what did I do? Naruto asked she epily. Naruto, the whole village is looking for you because you stole the scroll. But Mizuki-sensei told me that if I took the scroll I can become a ninja. But as soon as Naruto finished the statement, a giant shuriken then was flying towards Naruto as Iruka pushed him out of the way. Iruka, you taking the hit for the demon? Mizuki, you know it's against the law to say anything about that. So what, because I'm going to kill you both? He should know why I'm going to kill him. The two Chuans argued. Hey Naruto, want to know why the village hates you? Would you know please? Why do they hate and beat me for those days? As Mizuki told Naruto. Up in the trees. What's going on? Said Miko as she wanted to know too. Back on the ground. It's because you are the nine-tailed fox. You killed everyone's loved ones in the village and they want you to die. Miski yelled. Naruto was shocked and saddened that no one would be friends with a demon. Miko couldn't believe what she heard, but Naruto acted like no demon, he was a nice boy that she was in love with. She jumped down to protect him. He is not the demon you are, said Miko. Miko, what are you doing here? Take Naruto and run, said Ruka. Once I kill the demon whore and the demon I will be considered a hero, said Miski, but Naruto wouldn't stand his friend being called a whore. So he got up and said the words, Kage Bunshin no just you, and more than 100 Narutos appeared in the clearing. That's when Miko's brain had so many dirty thoughts, but she shook her head to clear them. Alright then, let's get this traitor, and screams could be heard as the night went on. Almost dawn. Naruto, come over here, said Iruka. What is it, sensei? Naruto said. Close your eyes, as Naruto felt something around his head. He opened his eyes to see Iruka's headband around his head. He then jumped onto his sensei crying. Thank you Iruka sensei, thank you. Come on Naruto, it's time to go home, I will take the scroll to the Hokage. Iruka said. Thanks sensei. Walking home with Miko. Come on, you smell and need a bath, Miko said. Hokage Tower. The Hokage smiled at the scene that was happening and hoped for the best. That's when he summoned his Anbu to get Iruka and the scroll. That's when a medic busted into the room. Hokage-sama, Uchiha Sasuke is awake. At the hospital? Last time Uchiha Sasuke was waking up from his 5-year coma, Sasuke had woke up and was wondering what happened. He remembered his family being murdered. Wait, Itachi murdered the family? He just had to know that Miko was okay. So he tried to get up, but his body didn't want to, so he fell to the floor. But as he tried once again to get up, the third came into the room and saw Sasuke on the floor. He helped Sasuke onto the bed once again, but as soon as he did, he was assaulted by the one question he had been waiting to hear. What happened to Miko? Is she alright? Sasuke had screamed out, almost waking half the hospital. Please Sasuke, don't scream, and yes, your sister is fine, the third said in a calm voice. Sasuke was happy with the answer but didn't show it. Did she hate me for leaving her alone? He said sadly. No, because she has had company for the past 5 years when you were in a coma, said the third. So did one of the Anbu, my father was in watch over her, said Sasuke in a small tone and had started to drink a cup of water. No, a boy that's about your age is living with her, the third replied. As Sasuke started to spit out the cup of water and started repeat the same words over and over, kill him, kill him, kill the boy who violated his sister, as Sasuke tried to crawl his way to the Uchiha compound. But the third picked him up once again and put him on the bed. I will have them come visit you tomorrow, Sasuke, said the Hokage. So Sasuke had no choice but to wait the night to kill whoever was staying with his sister. Man, he musty big bother protect issues. Back at the compound, Miko was in her room thinking about what Miski had said when Naruto was taking a bath. Flashback. No, just you. He is the Kyuubi no Kustine incarnated demon in human form that must be killed. I know it's not in the last chapter, but I just come up with this stuff. Flashback. Kai. No, my Naruto-kun couldn't be the demon, he is too nice and kind to be that, quietly said Miko from the door outside. Naruto was listening at what she said and could feel that his heart fluttered a bit because of what she said. Thank you Miko, as he said, walking into the room. Wait, you heard that? Hoping she didn't saw anything about her crush on him. Well, not all of it, but saying I'm not a demon was the nicest things anyone ever said to me. Alright Naruto-kun, let's go to bed. Not knowing that she had said Naruto-kun. Alright Miko-chan. Also not knowing he had called her Chan. They had fallen asleep like they always did until they realized what they called each other and blushes on their face. Good night Naruto-kun. Good night Miko-chan. They had both said to each other before falling asleep. Next morning, Naruto and Miko had both gotten up around the same time because they had heard knocking on their door. When Naruto went to open the door, he saw an Anbu with a bear mask. Come with me to see Hokage-sama. The two 13-year-olds nodded and grabbed onto the Anbu as he teleported to the Hokage Tower. Hokage's office. The Hokage was battling one of the Kage's most evil's enemies, paperwork. As the Anbu arrived with both of the kids, it was like a sign from Kami to be free and run in fields of freedom. But the Anbu snapped him out of his daydream, so that the third could tell the kids, why are they here? Alright bear, you are dismissed, the third said. Thank you Hokage-sama, said Bear as he disappeared. He then turned his attention to the two kids and said, Miko, your bother is out of the coma. For one thing, Miko was surprised. One night she finds out her crush's secret for being hated and your bother wakes up the next day. Can you take us to him, Hokage-sama? Said Miko. Of course, what else would I have called you here for, replies the third. At the hospital, Sasuke was doing push-ups because of that one mark his bother Itachi had left, and to kill the boy as well. He though. Flashback, no, just you. Get stronger, Sasuke, and avenge the clan. Because you are the only one who can avenge the clan, said Itachi as he continued to torture Sasuke into a coma. Flashback, no, just you, Kai. As Sasuke was about to do sit-ups, he heard the door opened and look at the door. He then saw the third, his sister, and a blonde-haired boy. So that must be the boy who was with my sister when I was in a coma, as he then pictured killing the blonde every way possible if he tried to steal his sister's innocence. Alright, I will leave all three of you guys to get to know each other, said the third as he was leaving. Alright, what's your name and relations with my sister? Sasuke said all pushily like, my name is Naruto Uzumaki and me and your sisters are friends, said Naruto. But in Miko's thoughts, she wanted to be more with friends with Naruto, but she still needs to build up a relationship. So Miko, did he try anything? Because I can kill him right now if you want, Sasuke said with an evil glint in his eye which was scaring Naruto a lot. But Miko then hit a bother over the head. Stop being stupid, Sasuke, I can protect myself, replied Miko and left Sasuke saying crazy sisters in a low voice. Naruto, I want you to go out for a bit, okay? I want to talk to my brother alone, said Miko. Okay Miko, see ya both lather then, Naruto replied. Flashback, no, just you. After Naruto had a talk with the Hokage-sama about when he's supposed to show up at the academy, until a boy with a long scarf tripped and tried to put the blame on him. Naruto then left after the boy's mentor came in saying that he is a bad influence and found the boy gone. Flashback, no, just you, Kai. Somewhere in Konoha, woman's onsen. That's how you spell it, right? Konohamaru and Naruto were in front of the onsen as they then transformed to go inside. 5 minutes later, Naruto comes out bartered and busied, when Konohamaru came out untouched. I'm sorry boss, he said in a sad tone. No, it's alright. Now let's go to the training grounds and put everything you learned in there and saw to the test, yelled out Naruto as they both ran to the training grounds. Training grounds. Alright Konohamaru, it's game over, said Ebisu said as they came into the clearing. No, it isn't, because I have a new just you that will defeat everyone, yelled Konohamaru. Alright, transform, as Konohamaru was finally able to transform into beautiful woman, but only caused Ebisu to get a red face. Konohamaru, the just you is very horrible and dishonorable at best. Come on Konohamaru, it's time to go home, said Ebisu ready to take Konohamaru. No wait, Naruto yelled and said transform, but this time there were multiple Naruto females and which caused Ebisu to get a massive nosebleed, which then caused him to faint. Awesome boss, Konohamaru said. Konohamaru, if you think taking shortcuts is easy but it cheats as your growth as a ninja because there are no shortcuts. You must train up, practice hard to be a ninja, Naruto said. Alright boss, I will do my best, as Konohamaru then ran off into the village. He will be a great ninja to the village, said Naruto. Hokage Tower. I've got to make those two just as forbidden, said the Hokage in an annoyed tone with tissues sticked up his nose. Hospital. So that's what happened, as Sasuke retold the events at the Uchiha compound to his sister. So Itachi really did this. But why? Miko asked. It was because he said to test his limits, sis, get it though your head? Sasuke yelled to his sister. Wait, I'm sorry, please forgive me. He then said, no Sasuke, I'm sorry for saying that because now we are the two last Uchiha in the leaf. She then said, the Hokage said that I can become ninjas with you guys. Sasuke then said, trying to change the subject of Itachi. You can, Miko then said, hope me you and Naruto are on the same team, Miko said, which Sasuke growled at Naruto's name at the end. She then hit Sasuke over the head. You will do nothing to him or I will break your neck, she had said with killer intent, which then put down how to kill Naruto because he's too close to his sister plans for now. Alright Sasuke, I will see you at the academy Monday. It's Saturday at night, which the next day will be Sunday. Uchiha compound. As Miko had gotten back, she saw Naruto in the kitchen, eating a cup of ramen. Hey Miko, how was your talk with Sasuke? Said Naruto. It was okay, and don't talk with your mouth full, Naruto. Miko said to him. Alright Miko-chan. She then said, which caused her to blush, but hid it as she told Naruto that Sasuke is going to become ninjas with us on Monday and I'm going to go take a bath. Miko then said, me as well Miko, as Naruto went into the opposite sides of the onsen. She as quietly as ninja possible can, steps on a cat, gets to the wall without being noticed. She then looks though the peek hole she had made when Naruto wasn't there to look at him when he bathed 2 months before instead of hiding in the men's side. After the bath, every time when he felt himself go in there, he was always being watched and could hear giggling from somewhere. Maybe the onsen was haunted by a vengeful ghost that wants to kill him. But what about the giggling? It had to be something else and left as the mysteries of the Uchiha compound. In Miko's room, they are not going to do anything you perverts, they're just 13, maybe when 16, maybe. Naruto had seen Miko was sleeping on her side of the mattress with a blush on her face when she was sleeping and saw a picture in her hand. He then went to look at the picture and found it was of himself. He then looked at her and wanted to know why she had it, but it will have to wait till morning. Miko then rolled over onto Naruto in her sleep. Naruto-kun, she said when she was sleeping, and he could only smile. Good night Miko-chan, he said with her resting on his chest. The next morning, the two friends got up and Naruto had blushed. What are you doing with this picture Miko-chan? Naruto asked confusingly. She was trying to come up with an excuse, but as she was the third came into the room. Naruto and Miko, it's good that I caught you here because I wanted to talk to you both, said the Hokage. Hokage-sama, what is it? Asked Miko, glad that the third came into the room before she had to answer Naruto, buying herself some time. I have to ask you something Naruto, and you can answer this any way possible, the third said, taking a chance. Do you hate the fourth for sealing the demon into you? Now Naruto didn't want to disobey the third because he would be loyal to him and to him only until he died. Yes Hokage-sama, I hate him with every fiber of my body. If he was still alive I would want to kill him for ruining my life. Why couldn't he pick a kid with a family that would love him, but instead he picks ones without parents so that they can make my life miserable Hokage-sama, Naruto had said in a sad and dull tone. Miko was feeling sad for him as well and went to hug him to make him feel a bit better. And the Hokage was sad because now his successor was now hated and despised by his own son. Alright, I will leave you both to what you were going to do today, the third had said while he was leaving. Come on Miko, let's just go and train. Get ready for the day of tomorrow, Naruto said to her. The day becoming a Saiyan ninja. I was bored and you know how their day goes. No, here's a summary. They train, eat, Miko goes perverted in the bath again and they go to bed. Now on with the story. Miko and Naruto had gotten up with her on his chest again. She blushed and got off of him. Alright Miko, let's head to the academy after we eat some breakfast, Naruto had said. Miko nodded and got up to go make some when Naruto had grabbed her hand. Let me make breakfast. Alright Miko, Naruto had asked. Miko had just nodded again. She was wondering what Naruto had made for breakfast. Wait, he must've made ramen. But was wrong when she could smell pancakes and was right. Naruto making pancakes, though he couldn't cook. But as she looked at the counter, there was a bag of already made pancakes inside, frozen. Naruto, though you actually cooked breakfast, not use instant made stuff, Miko said, and Naruto bush because he had been caught. They soon ate their food and were on their way to the academy to find out their team placemate. At the academy, as they both entered the room, hey Naruto, what are you doing here? This is for people who passed the exam, Shikamaru said to him. See this Nara, it means I passed, Naruto said, pointing to his forehead protector. Yeah, troublesome blondes, the Nara said. Alright, take your seats everyone, we are getting a new student, said Iruka. But isn't the test over so no one can take, else can take it sensei, said Sakura. No, because he has special permission from the Hokage. Alright everyone meet Sasuke Uchiha, replied Iruka. As Sasuke came walking into the room, the girls started to get hearts in their eyes and Sasuke cringed at this. Fangirls, Sasuke said, scarred. He then saw his sister and her Naruto up in the corner and ran up to them. Alright, it's time for team placements, said Iruka. Later, Team 7 Naruto Uzumika, Sasuke Uchiha, Miko Uchiha and Sakura Haruno will be this year's 4-man team. Iruka said. Alright, we're in the same team Miko-chan. Yeah, you're right Naruto-kun, they both said. Sasuke had a growl in his throat at this and Sakura was staring at Sasuke with hearts in his eyes. "All right, your teachers will be here soon," said Iruka as he left the room. On the roof, the new Team 7 had gotten onto the roof and they saw Kakashi reading an orange book that he had put away as soon as they got up there. "All right, it's time to introduce ourselves first, you Pinky," said Kakashi. Sensei, could you please show us how it's done," said Sakura. "Now we can learn something about him." "Alright, my name's Kakashi Hitaki. I have some likes and some dislikes and no dreams right now." All we learned was his name, they all though the same time. "Alright Pinky, like before your first." "My name's Sakura Haruno. I looks at Sasuke. I hate Ino Pig and Naruto and my dream is to," looks at Sasuke with a weird glint in her eyes. "Great, a fangirl Kakashi though. Alright, next you Mr. Sunshine," as he pointed to Sasuke. "Fine, my name is Sasuke Uchiha. I don't like many things and I dislike a lot of things." While he was looking at Naruto and, "My dream, no ambition is to kill a certain man." "Great, we got an Avenger Kakashi then though." "Alright Miss Dark and Gruesome. My name is Miko Uchiha. I like my brother and," Naruto when he was looking up at the sky didn't notice or look at him. "I dislike my bother being in my personal life too much," as Sasuke cringed at her glare. "And my dream is to help Sasuke rebuild the Uchiha clan." "Alright, we have a love-sick puppy and who loves someone whose head is as thick as a rock," Kakashi said to himself. "Alright Blondie, you're next," Kakashi said. "My name's Naruto Uzumaki. I like my friend Miko and her brother. I dislike my village and fourth Hokage. I have no dream but to help my friends." He had said it all in a dull voice. "Alright, now we have a broken boy who hates my sensei he though. Alright, tomorrow go to training ground 77. My cousin laughs at this number as well. And we will have a survival test." Kakashi said, "But sensei, didn't we already become genin?" Sakura said, "Well, you freak. But only 66.4% of genin ever pass this test. Now be at that training ground tomorrow at 7 a.m. and don't eat any breakfast," as Kakashi disappeared. And as soon as that happened the group separated and on their way to their homes. "Miko the Hokage gave me my own apartment so that I can train on my own," said Sasuke, "and Naruto, you better take care of her or I will kill you," he said in a deadly tone before he was hit over the head by Miko. "Alright, we're heading home Sasuke, see you tomorrow," said Miko as her and Naruto were leaving. "Sasuke, will you go on a date with me?" Sakura said to him over and over until he just ran the rest of the way to his apartment, leaving Sakura. "Fine, then I'll just ask you tomorrow Sasuke." Sasuke's apartment. As Sasuke was in his apartment he thought to himself, "I've been asleep for 5 years because of Itachi and Miko had been alone. Naruto's been with her when I was in a coma, which means they got to be close." Realizing what he had said, "Then I have to fight Naruto and test him in every way to see if he can protect my sister," he then said to himself before he then went to bed. Uchiha compound. As Naruto were wearing his boxers in the onsen and Miko was wearing a bathing suit so that they can talk to each other. "You think we can pass Kakashi test tomorrow Naruto?" said Miko. "Yeah, if we both work together we can accomplish any," replied Naruto. As they bathed, Miko had started to splash Naruto in the face with water, which had them start a water fight in the onsen. It was going all right until Naruto had seen Miko's top almost come, of which almost caused him a nosebleed, and had caused Miko to hide behind the rocks in the room until she had got it back on. When she was able to get it back on they both had blushes on their face and left the onsen to go to bed. In their room, Naruto was in the room until he had heard the door open, and had saw Miko walk in. I'm sorry for almost ripping of your top Miko, can you forgive me?" Naruto said in a sad tone. "It's alright Naruto, as long as you didn't look I can forgive you. But you are now considered a pervert," she had said with a blush on her face. "Wait, I'm not a pervert," Naruto screamed out as he then calmed down and said, "Alright Miko-chan, let's just go to bed. Let's rest up for that test Naruto-kun," Miko replied as she then laid on his chest like she did every other night and fell asleep. "Why do I have this feeling in my heart every time I look at her?" Naruto asked himself as Miko was sleeping peacefully on his chest, and he then sooner than later fall asleep as well. Training ground 77 the next morning. The group of 4 were at the training grounds at 7 a.m. like Kakashi sensei had said, but he was nowhere to be seen. "Come on, they should learn the first time," Miko and Sakura were half asleep and Naruto with Sasuke were hungry for not eating breakfast. Naruto also being almost asleep as well, then leaned against the tree and was starting to fall asleep. When he then felt something started to lay on his chest, he then opened his eyes and saw Miko sleeping there. He then got a smile and then started to play with her hair, and while he was doing this, Sasuke was at the other side of the training field watching him do this, only wanted him to kill him even more just for touching her. Hell, if he even looked at her he would kill him, but he had to be ready for this test, so he then practiced his only just you for a bit and how to make ki. And Sakura was also sleeping against the tree as well for her being tried and hungry. 3 hours later at the training grounds. Kakashi was just arriving at the training grounds after having a large breakfast and a good sleep. That's when he saw his students. He saw Sakura sleeping against a tree muttering, "Sasuke-kun," in her sleep. Sasuke was pretending he didn't hear her and was training. Then he saw Miko was cuddling against Naruto as he played with her hair, so he had cough out loud to get their attention. But there was a scream, "You're late," came from Sakura. "Alright, now that all of you are here we can begin the test," said Kakashi looking at them. "Sensei, what kind of test will we be taking?" said Miko tiredly. "We will be taking survival training." He then said, "You will have to take 2 bells from me to pass. Who then ever has the bells at the end of the test can become genin. You have 2 hours to try begin," replied Kakashi, and at that everyone had ran into the forest to hide. In the forest hiding places, Naruto, Miko, Sasuke and Sakura were watching Kakashi waiting for him to make the first move. That was until he reached for his back pocket. Everyone was tensed until he had pulled out a book and started to giggle perverted. Now to say everyone was pissed that he wouldn't want to this test seriously. "God damn you, you're just a pervert," Sasuke had screamed. Lesson 1 Sasuke Taijutsu. Were you looking secret taijutsu of the leaf 1000 years of death? So Sasuke had attacked first and had a run-in with 1000 years of death. Man, that's a major but poke, scared for life. As he then fell into the river and soaked to the bone. Naruto then saw a bell and ran for it. "Man, there's a bell right there, now I can pass for sure," he said to himself, only to get caught in the tree by a simple trap. "If the looks so obverse, don't run to it," Kakashi then said, appearing from a tree. "Don't run to the trap, Kakashi." But as he was impaled by Kunai and's shuriken. They had though that he was dead and saw pieces of a log on the ground. "Shita Kawarimi no just you," Miko had said, moving to a different spot. Then found Sakura and trap her in a genjutsu that she had saw Sasuke die. "Sasuke-kun nnnnnnoo," she screamed out before. She then fainted. "Might have went overboard with that one," he said, and went looking for Miko. He had not found her and went into the clearing, to be almost caught in a Gukaku no just you. At her age she could be the strongest yet, he said before trapping her into the ground. Maybe not that good, but needs some work, as he stared at her. After Naruto was caught in trap, 30 minutes have passed. Sasuke had found Naruto hanging from a tree from one leg. "Hey loser, see what happened to you. If you go after something so obverse," said Sasuke. "At least I didn't run out there to fight him and got poked in the ass," he had yelled back. "If we don't work together we'll never pass this test," said Sasuke. "Alright then, Teme, cut me down then," Naruto said after him. Sasuke threw a kunai that then cut the rope, which then Naruto fell on his head. "Dame, that hurt," said Naruto. "At least you have a hard head," Sasuke then replied. "Hey, I resent that," screamed out Naruto. "Alright, for Kami's sake stop screaming, we have to go look for Sakura and Miko wherever they are," said Sasuke as they began looking for them. They had found Sakura knock out and trap in a genjutsu. "Kai," Sasuke then said, which had caused Sakura to wake up and see Sasuke with Naruto looking down at her. "Sasuke-kun, what happened though you had died?" she said. "Sakura, you were trapped in genjutsu," Sasuke then said to her. "Alright, let's go look for Miko," said Naruto as they then found her in the clearing with her head still above the ground. "Miko, what happened?" said Naruto. "Kakashi-sensei did this," she replied. "Come on, let's get you out," said Sasuke as they started to dig her out. 45 minutes later. Man, she must have been buried deep if it took that long. They were tried as they finally got her out of the ground. "We have to work together if we're going to pass this test," said Sasuke. "Alright, but how are we going to get bells from Kakashi?" said Miko. "Don't worry, leave that to me," said Naruto. 15 minutes left in the test. It seems that they don't understand. Looks like I'm going to have to fail them, Kakashi said, until he saw Naruto and Miko attack him by throwing random ki blasts at him. He dodged them with ease, until he saw Sasuke appeared in front of him. This is for my ass, as he shot a beam of energy at Kakashi for what he did early. Oh shit, Kakashi said as he dodged. He was almost dear-med for what he did, and when he was spinning in midair he saw Sakura running towards him. He then realized that they were the distracting and she would get the bells. I won't be outsmarted by a bunch of genin. He though as Sakura was about to grab the bells, he had hit the ground with his hand to push himself up more so that Sakura had missed catching the bells. But as soon as they were going to try again, the bell for the test was over and none of them had the bells, so they all had fail. At the stumps of the training grounds, Naruto was tied to the stump and Sasuke, Sakura and Miko had lunches in front of them. Alright, you boys will take the test again, but you don't feed Naruto, said Kakashi as he disappeared. As they were opening the lunches they heard Naruto's stomach growl. Come on Naruto-kun, open your mouth. You have to eat, said Miko. No Miko-chan, if I do we fail, said Naruto. Naruto, just eat the damn food already, Sasuke said, being already annoyed. We can split the food between each other, said Sakura. I have to have her have one line. And with you out of energy, you'll slow the team down, Miko said. Miko-chan, Naruto said heartfully as Naruto took the first bite into the food. A dark cloud appeared above them and an angry Kakashi appeared. I told you not to feed him, he yelled out. Now are you prepared to suffer? He then said as the young genins were afraid what will happen. You all pass, he yelled, then said calmly. What? They all said. You pass. The meaning of this test is teamwork, Kakashi said. They then realized this after what happened to them. Teams must work together, he then replied. Alright, tomorrow Team 7 meet me at the Hokage Tower, as he then disappeared. As Miko then untied Naruto and left with Sasuke and Sakura to their homes so that they can rest. At the Hokage Tower meeting, as Kakashi appeared, many people knew he never passed a team. Alright Kakashi, did this team fail as well? Said the Hokage. No, this time they pass, Kakashi then said, causing the whole room to go into shock. Kakashi passing a team? No way. They must have been strong for him to pass them, as other Juin were talking sent around the room. Alright, Team 7 is Irby declared as a ninja team and is now on duty, replied the Hokage. Everyone is dismissed. Yes Hokage-sama, as they all teleported out of the room to their homes after the testes today. At the Uchiha compound, Naruto and Miko had just gotten back to the compound when a conversion struck. Miko-chan, do you want to spar or something? Naruto said. Maybe later Naruto-kun, right now I'm hungry, replied Miko. Naruto then got 2 cups of ramen from the cabinet in the kitchen. As soon as Naruto had heated the cup, they ate in silence, tried from the day. Miko had then went to bed early to be ready for tomorrow. Miko's dreams, or nightmare. But when she went to sleep she had seen her clan dead before her. She then ran to see what was causing this and saw Itachi. I will only make you suffer for the rest of your life, said this Itachi, as bodies of Naruto and Sasuke had appeared dead before her. Back in her room, she then woke up and started to cry of what she saw, and had heard someone running down to her room. When Naruto had opened the door he saw Miko there with tears in her eyes. Miko-chan, what's wrong? He screamed, wondering what caused her to cry. I had a nightmare you and Sasuke were dead because of me. She then started to cry heavily. Naruto didn't know what to do, just did what the Hokage did when he was crying and gave her a hug. It's okay, I'm still here and your bother as well, and we will always, said Naruto to Miko calmly as he then led her into the kitchen to get something to drink. He had gotten her a glass of water and told her to talk about the dream. Later, after Miko had talked about her dream, Naruto had though of something. Come on, let's go talk to the Hokage. Why are we going there for? Miko asked. If you stay here you will keep getting nightmares, replied Naruto. At the Hokage Tower, the Hokage was ready to leave and call it a day when he heard a knock on his door. Hokage-sama, can we come in? Was said from outside. It sounded like Naruto, but what could he need at this time? The third thought. Come in Naruto, he said. As they came in, the Hokage saw Miko's eyes red as she had been crying. Naruto, what happened to Miko? The third yelled, wanting to know what happened. She can't stay in Uchiha compound, said Naruto. Why can't she? Said the Hokage. Because I can see everyone close to dead by Itachi and keep saying it was my fault. She said. Hokage-sama, can we please get a new apartment? Said Naruto. Alright Naruto, I be back, said the third as he left the room to look for a new home for the two. Naruto, what are you doing? Asked Miko. Just looking at what the Hokage does all day. And as he was looking he found two things, a book that looked very familiar to Kakashi's and a scroll that is marked Uzumaki. Hey Miko, there's my last name on these, they might be my family, said Naruto as swiped the scrolls. The third head came back in as soon as Naruto took the scrolls and said, here's a house that's been empty for a long time. It's Naruto's house in the anime. Alright Hokage-sama, please lead us to it, Naruto then said. At the apartment. This place is huge, said Miko, as the place was because it had 5 stories. We'll be living at the top floor, Miko, said Naruto. Alright then, I see you tomorrow, Naruto, said the third. Yes Hokage-sama. At the new home of Miko and Naruto. It's big enough to fit a lot of people, said Miko. Yeah, there are 2 bedrooms, so I'm going to sleep. See you in the morning. But as you have it, Miko had to sneak into Naruto's room because she couldn't sleep without having those dreams, so she had went into Naruto's room. She then saw him awake and walk into his room. Miko-chan, what are you doing here? Said Naruto. I live here, remember Naruto-kun, she then said as he then continued to look at the scroll. So are you going to open one? She said as soon as he started to reach out to grab one, which he then opened. First scroll. Dear Naruto, if you're reading this, I must be dead. I am the 4th Hokage and also your father. I had died to seal the Kyuubi into you because I have to save the village. But I don't know if I did the right thing. I really don't have much to say other than I hope your 2 older sisters and mother take care of you because you're the youngest. Sorry I have to go, son, but the fox is coming. I hope you lived a good life. From your father, the 4th Hokage Minato Namikaze. Back in the apartment, Naruto was angry because he found out that the man who caused him pain and suffering was his own father. He had just wanted to bring him back to life and then kill him again because he now hated him so much. Now that he had readied, he also has 2 sisters and a mother. But when you look at the second scroll, it was 2 days ago, it had said. Second scroll. Dear 3rd Hokage, you may be a demon lover, but I will get rid of that demon that almost destroyed our village and which took my husband as well. My 2 daughters are training to kill the demon and are almost red, which might be around the next Chunin exam. When that demon turns 14, he will die. We will see you there. From Kushina Uzumaki. Back at the apartment once more. Now to say that Naruto was broken. No anger that his own mother wanted to kill him and was training his own sisters to do so. Miko had readied the 2 scrolls and was now hugging Naruto, which was seemingly calming him down. She then walked with Naruto to the bed where they had laid down. She was sleeping next to him once again till he fell asleep. Good night Miko-chan, as Naruto finally went to sleep, which also brought a shade of pink to her face. Then as she fell asleep for the day, waiting tomorrow. Good night Naruto-kun, she said before fall asleep right next to him holding his hand. 8 a.m. Naruto's and Miko's new building. The next morning they had both woken up. Good morning Naruto-kun. Good morning Miko-chan, they had said to each other. They then both had gotten up and Miko went to the shower because she had brought a spare of cloths with her, and Naruto went to the kitchen to find some frozen pancakes in the freezer already made. So Naruto had taken out those pancakes and put them in the microwave for them to heat up. He then went to the room to ask Miko if she wanted any. But when he had walked in, he had seen her in her underwear as she was putting on her top. They had stared at each other for a few minutes. Naruto, you pervert, she screamed out as she was throwing stuff at him and he was running away. I'm sorry, he then screamed as well, trying to get away from her. As he then got back, Miko was eating the pancakes he had found at the table. But wait, those are mine. With anime tears rolling down his eyes. Well then don't come and peek at me, you pervert, she then said. But I'm not a pervert, he replied. Well then why did you peek, she said, not expecting to hear an answer. I just wanted to know if you want pancakes, he then said. Well I do. But those were mine, so what you peek at me, they then argued. But that all stopped as knock came to their door. Who could know where we live? Miko said. Yeah, only the Hokage knows about us living at this place, replied Naruto as he then opened the door to see Kakashi, Sakura and Sasuke with an irradiated look on their faces. Well, Sasuke, at least because of what he heard. Maybe I can poison Naruto or put a pillow over his head and frame Sakura, that'll kill 2 birds with 1 stone, he had though evilly. How did you know we were here? Asked Miko. Well, we heard the screaming and the Hokage told us you were here, said Kakashi. Alright Team 7, ready for your first D-rank mission, said Kakashi. Yeah, these missions are going to be awesome, Naruto then yelled out. During the D-rank mission, man, these missions suck so much ass it's not even funny, Naruto then said. Hey, start doing more labor, I'm not paying you to do nothing, some random villager said. Alright, Naruto said as he got back to work. Their first D-rank mission was to move some guy's stuff to another guy's house across the village. And this guy had a lot of stuff from swords to knives to scrolls to furniture and even the kitchen sink. And the job was an hour of labor thanks to the Cage Bunshin no just you. The D-rank mission was over, but then another soon came after that. It was to pull out all of the weeds in front of the Hyuga compound. Drinking lemonade while you slaves, I mean genin, are doing your work for you. The job was done in 4 hours. And soon after that again came another mission. This time it was to watch a bunch of kids at the academy. The job was horrible. Each genin were covered in crayons or glue or any or martial the kids could get their hands on, and that job was 5 hours long. And after that the day was over and genins were dismissed to go home. Alright, tomorrow meet me back at the bridge, Kakashi then said to his genin. Back Naruto's and Miko's. Miko was tried and went to the crouch, trying to hope she will never have to do that again, as Naruto went to the shower to wash his aching muscles. After she heard the water turn off, Miko then got up to get a change of cloths so that after Naruto she could take a bath. But as she walked into the room she had saw deep scars on his back. There were a red color but also looked old as well. Naruto, how did you get those scars? She said. Naruto had hoped Miko hadn't come into the room. Well, I got them from training, he said, trying to come up with a lie. Naruto, don't lie, you're just horrible at it, she then said. Naruto, not wanting to tell her, had no choice because she always knew when he had lied. It was one time I was getting beaten that a bunch of Saiyans came and dragged me to training ground to us me as a dummy for their techniques, he said. Just put a shirt back on, Naruto, and I'll be back to bed, said Miko, and then Naruto fell asleep for what happened this day. Hell, if I did anything they did I would rather go into a coma. Next morning at the bridge, the Team 7 had again formed on the bridge once again and were now waiting for Kakashi to come and see them so they know what they're doing today. Hello once again, team. Kakashi appeared and to hear the sound of, "You're late," from Sakura. He looking around to see Sasuke, Budin and Miko and Naruto were talking. Alright, it's time to do more D-ranked missions, said Kakashi, and they all groaned. D-ranked missions once again. Their first D-ranked mission of the day was to walk the Inuzuka's dogs, to which Naruto's take that the dogs would want to go wherever they want, dangerous or not. One dog tried to lead Naruto and Sasuke into Area 44. And they were pulling them not to go in there. But because the dogs were stronger, Sasuke and Naruto, they had no say in where the dogs wanted to go. After about walking the dogs for a good hour, the mission was over. The fifth mission. The fifth mission was to clean the public on scenes. It wasn't a hard mission, but the Sasuke fangirls were there making Naruto doing most of the work. The Sasuke fangirls were looking for Sasuke because they wanted to ask him on dates. But Sasuke, knowing this, knew type senses. So they were hunting for him while he was hiding in a place where they never looked, the men's bathroom. Well, it's obverse, but they can't go in there. As the job was over, the genin were tried and wanted to go home. But first they had to find Sasuke. Soon Naruto found him inside the bathroom on the floor in the fetal position with lipstick all over him, and him saying, "They won't stop, they never stop," he kept saying over and over. Naruto got him out but couldn't snap him out of it. Then Naruto had an idea. "Hey Sakura, kiss him." But as soon as Sasuke heard those words, Sasuke was off like a bullet. There was even a Sasuke-shaped hole in the wall. "Alright, I'll get Sasuke, just meet me at the Hokage Tower tomorrow, team," said Kakashi as he then went to chase Sasuke. The rest of the team then went different ways until they had to meet again tomorrow. The next day, Team 7 was with Kakashi this time. Sasuke had looked better 10 the day before. Sakura was kinda disappointed that she couldn't kiss Sasuke before he ran, and Naruto was too as well because he couldn't get any blackmail. And Miko had just sighed at all three of their antics before Kakashi had gotten their attention. "Today we will be catching the cat, Tora," said Kakashi. "It can't be that bad," said Naruto. "Yeah, how hard can it be to catch a cat?" Sasuke then said. Later in the forest. Blondie, how far are you from the target? Said Sasuke. Not that far, emo boy, replied Naruto. Don't call Sasuke-kun that, Naruto, said Sakura. Screaming Banshee, stop screaming or you'll scare the target, retorted Naruto. Just all of you stop fighting, alright, said Miko. Yes, listen to White Flower, said Naruto, to which Miko blushed at. Fine then, but where's Kakashi? Said Sasuke. Kakashi-sensei, do you read? Said Sakura, but there was no reply. He mustn't have shut off his radio. Said Miko. On a rock in another clearing you can see a gray-haired man reading a porn book and giggling. Please people, no pictures. So we're on our own. Said Sakura. Looks that way. Said Miko. Alright, I see the target, I'm going for it. Was heard from Naruto. Wait, Naruto. Said Miko. Ah. Was heard and then went dead. Naruto. All three had said and rushed to his location only to see him getting cut by the target's nails. So ribbon on the ear, said Sasuke. Yep, was all heard from Sakura as Naruto was trying to get the cat off of him. But as soon as it saw Miko it jumped into her arms. See, the cat isn't that bad, said Miko as Naruto was glaring daggers at the cat. Then Kakashi came into the clearing. You guys caught the cat, he said, and they all nodded. Alright, mission completed. Let's head back to the Hokage tower. He then replied as they followed him to the tower with Naruto still glaring daggers at the cat. At the Hokage tower, the team had gotten back to the tower. Team 7 recused Tora the cat complete, said Kakashi. Good work, Team 7, said the Hokage. Ah, my darling Tora, said the Fire Lord's wife as she rushed and took the cat, so that then she hugged the life out of him. And as then Naruto had stared with satisfaction that the cat was getting what he deserved for scathing his face. And as the Fire Lord's wife left the room, the Hokage then said, Alright Team 7, your missions are babysitting, pulling out more weeds, movers. But as soon as he said the last one there was a scream. Tora, where are you going? Yelled the Fire Lord's wife. And rescue the Fire Lord's cat again, said the third Hokage. No, screamed out Naruto. We want a better mission, Naruto then said as the rest of the team agreed in their thoughts. Naruto, you have to understand, Genins have to take D-rank missions because you're out of the academy. Only after you get months of experience you can take C-ranked missions, said Iruka, who was working with other Chunins for setting missions for the Genin. It's alright Iruka, I decide that I'll give them a C rank so that they can have a first taste of a C rank mission, said the Hokage. Alright, send him in, said the Hokage. So Team 7 looked to the door to see a drunk man. So these are the kids who are going to defend me. They don't look like much, and that blonde one looks like he's going to die first, said the man, and at that Naruto attacked him ready to rip of his jaw, but Kakashi had grabbed Naruto. No Naruto, it's not nice to kill your clients, as he talked to him in a childlike tone. Alright, the name's Tazuna and I need you guys to protect my bridge from bandits in Wave Country, he said. Alright team, tomorrow meet me at the southwest gate, so that we can begin our travel to the wave, said by Kakashi as he disappeared and Tazuna left to go back to his hotel. Soon the rest of the team left, going to their homes to rest up for the next day. Sakura's thoughts. Sending a whole month with Sasuke-kun, I can't wait for this mission, as she then though of daydreams of Sasuke and herself. Sasuke's thoughts. A great mission to test out my strength against Itachi and to plan how to get Naruto away from my sister, ha 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 cough cough. Naruto's thoughts. We're getting close to the Chunin exams, so soon I'm going to have to fight my sisters because they think I'm a demon, then so be it. I just show them I'm Naruto Uzumaki, their brother, but I don't think they'll want as a brother if they're trying to kill me. Man, my life does suck. At least I have Miko-chan with me all the way, because without her I think I would have ended up insane. Miko's thoughts. Naruto is going to fight his sisters soon. Looks like I'm going to have to support him in every way I can so that he can beat them. Naruto's and Miko's house. Naruto's and Miko's house. Because no one else lives in the house he lives in the anime. Naruto had gotten up to see Miko wasn't there with him, and there was a smell of food in the air. What's that smell? As he then went into the kitchen. He then saw Miko in the kitchen eating some instant pancakes and had another plate there. Hey Naruto, you going to come and eat? Said Miko. Yeah, I will, said Naruto. But let me go take a shower first, he then said as he grabbed cloths and started walking to the shower. I better start packing then, as she got up and walked to the room to put stuff in her pack. 30 minutes later, the two friends were packed and full on food and ready to go on the mission. When they were walking to the gate they had meet up with Sasuke and Sakura. "So you think this mission will be hard, Sasuke?" said Sakura. "Maybe, but Kakashi said we'll be fighting bandits most of the time," said Sasuke as they reached the gate. As they reached the gate they saw Kakashi on time. "Guys, on the count of 3, said Naruto and Kakashi, wondering what were they doing. 1.2.3, yelled out Naruto, and all 4 genin said at the same Kai. They all yelled out, but Kakashi sweat drop and said, "See why I don't come early," he said. "Come on guys, I have to get back to Wave Country," said Tazuna, and as the rest of the team saw him they sighed and began their travels to Wave Country. "It's going to take us a week to get there," said Kakashi as the rest of them groaned for so much walking. "Come on, we might as well start moving," as Kakashi and Tazuna walk out of the gates followed by Team 7. Later that day, Team 7 were walking without a care in the world, while Tazuna was looking uneasy like he was trying to watch out for something. The genins, though he was scared of some bandits roughing him up, but Kakashi knew he was hiding something. This guy has to be hiding something if he's this scared. But as they were walking Kakashi saw a puddle. "Wait, a puddle, and it hasn't even rained. There's something wrong here," he then though. But as he was about to warn his team, when an energy beam shot through him destroying Kakashi, the team was in shock as to ninja appeared. "1 down, 5 to go," said one of the men. When they were going after Tazuna, Sasuke and Naruto teamed up and took down one of the men going after Tazuna. "How, you ask? Well, Sasuke uppercutted him, knocking him into the air, to which Naruto then jump up and kick him straight into the ground. But because they were dealing with that guy 1, because that they don't know their names, they're now Guy 1 and Guy 2. Guy 2 was going after Sakura because she wasn't doing anything but watching Sasuke until she realized it that Miko had to come and save her by using Great Fire Beam by forcing her hands together and forcing a beam out of them, knocking the guy towards his brother. "Damn that bitch," Guy 2 said. "It's alright brother, let's get them with the chain," Guy 1 said as they then charged Sasuke and threw one of the claws at him, which then Naruto pushed him out of the way only to get caught in the hand by the claw. "Alright, now for the old man," both guys had said. That was when Kakashi appeared and knocked them both out with his elbows against their heads. "Kakashi-sensei," they yelled out. "We thought you were dead," said Miko. They then looked back to the remains only to see pieces of log. "He musted have Kawarimi before he was killed," said Sakura. "Kakashi-sensei, come quick, Naruto's been poisoned," yelled out Miko as Kakashi reached Miko and Naruto. He then looked at Naruto's hand to see his hand cut. "We have to go back to Konoha to get it treated." "No, we don't have to, but we have to or you'll die." "But you know what's sealed inside me, so I should be fine," Naruto and Kakashi argued. But Kakashi was shocked that Naruto knew about the Kyuubi, but he will have to talk to about it later. "Kakashi-sensei, is Naruto okay?" said Sakura. "Yeah, he is. But I have to have a talk with our client," and Team 7 followed Kakashi to Tazuna. "Alright Tazuna, why are there ninja out to kill you?" Kakashi said. "Well, I don't know," Tazuna said. "Well, I guess we have to leave the mission because we only supposed to fight bandits and the pay is C rank," said Kakashi. Now Tazuna had no choice, but he had to tell them, "Well, it's Wave Country because we have all been enslaved by Gato's shipping company," said Tazuna. "Wait, you mean Gato of Gato's shipping trades?" Kakashi asked. "Yes, him, he has shipped drugs and made the country suffer. But I'm building a bridge that will bring the hope back to the country. But if I complete it I can save Wave Country and Gato will lose his hold. So please help me save them," as Tazuna told his story to the ninja. Kakashi wasn't sure what he was going to do, but now it was up to his team. "Alright team, you make your choice. I think we should stay with this mission," said Sasuke. "I do too," said Sakura, being a good fangirl. "I do too, because my brother might do something stupid," said Miko. "Yeah, we should free the country," said Naruto. "So looks like I'm going for the ride as well," he said quietly. "Alright, let's go to Wave then," said Kakashi as he started walking again, and Tazuna was silently thanking the ninja for continue the mission. The night after the attack, "Naruto, come meet me in the forest," said Kakashi as he walked into the forest and Naruto followed. "Naruto, how do you know about the Kyuubi?" "Come on Kakashi. You saw what people do to me when I was young and names they called me. It doesn't take an idiot to put 2 and 2 together," Naruto had said in a dull tone. "Naruto, why the act?" asked Kakashi. "It helps me." Fool people, as Naruto said, and Kakashi looked into his cold dead eyes. What about Miko? Then Kakashi asked. She is the only one I see every day and care about, Naruto had replied. So do you know of your family? Well, I mean your father, Kakashi asked, hoping he wouldn't hate him. You won't mention him around me because he caused my pain, so I hope he burns in hell. He had said with so much anger in the way he was speaking to his sensei. Naruto, he had no choice, he had to. Kakashi was about to say, but Naruto cut him off there. Would save the village, not care about his son, and cause his own mother and sisters to kill him because of something he couldn't control. Naruto screamed out with tears in his eyes as he ran back to the campsite. I'm sorry, sensei, for not being there for him, as he looked up into the sky. Kakashi said as he then went back to the campsite, himself saddened by what he heard. Back at the campsite, Naruto had came running back and into the tent, and Miko soon followed him to see what was wrong. Sasuke tried to see or protect her from Naruto. But Sakura kept getting in his way, and Kakashi then said, "Leave Naruto alone with Miko," with a sad smile. In the tent, Naruto, what happened? What did Kakashi say? Said Miko. He said nothing, Miko. Just about the Kyuubi, Naruto replied. Are you okay because your eyes are red? She asked. No, I'm fine, he replied again. Just let me go to bed, he said as he was laying down. But Miko was laying right next to him. Then I'll stay here with you to make sure you're alright, she then said, starting to fall asleep. Good night, Miko-chan, he said. Good night, Naruto-kun, she said, then falling asleep. Back outside, Sasuke had assumed the worst had happened to her and was trying to get around Kakashi to save his sister. Sasuke, she's fine, Kakashi said. How can I believe you? Replied Sasuke as Kakashi walked to one of the flaps and opened it to reveal both of them sleeping. Sasuke was fine with this sight until he came to a realization. Wait, if Miko is in there and going to stay there, then what about me? He asked, hoping he wasn't hoping to hear. You'll be staying with Sakura, he said. Which had caused her to blush and thank Naruto with Miko for helping her achieve this. Come on, Sasuke, we're going to bed, she said, dragging him away. NNNNOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOOO curse you Kakashi-sensei curse you oh you. And there was silence. Man, I wonder what she did, as he then fell asleep himself. A week later. Nothing happened that week now there at the coast of Fire Country. It's been a week but there were finally their Wave Country. Now one of Tazuna friends came alone in a boat. I like to call him the rower. We have to get across like this because Gato's men patrol the waters, said Tazuna, and one by one they got on the boat and started going across the river. Then Sakura looked up. Hey, the bridge is almost complete, she said. Yes, all we have to do is just get it connected to the mainland, but with Gato he tried to stop it at all cost, replied Tazuna. Alright, then we'll just stop every single one of his efforts, said Naruto. Little while later. Alright, we're here, welcome to Wave Country and I hope you complete your mission, said the rower as he then turned his boat back to the mainland. Alright, my house is just a bit farther up the road, said Tazuna as they all started walking again, until Naruto heard something in the bush to which then caused Naruto to raise his hand in the air and shot multiple ki blast at the bush. To which then Sakura ran up to the bush to find a scarred bunny rabbit that was wondering what was that. Look Naruto, you almost killed the bunny, yelled Sakura. But that rabbit is Snow White, said Miko. But rabbits are white in the winter. But it mustn't have been kept indoors, said Kakashi, then realized what he said. Everyone get down, he yelled out, grabbing Tazuna and Naruto grabbing Miko, with Sasuke getting down and hoping Naruto and Sakura would get killed, but Sakura got down as well before a giant spinning disc flew through the air and cut several trees before coming to a halt into a tree. But then the disc turned into a sword. As soon as everyone was getting up again to see if they were all right, the ninjas noticed that there was a man on the sword facing the opposite direction. He had no shirt and camouflaged pants with bandages also around his face. He then looked back and said, "MMMMMMHMHMHMHMHMHMHM." The man had said, "Wait, what he said?" asked Naruto. "MHMHHMHM thaw MHM better no now that's better. What my bandages were on too tight," the man said as the rest of the people there had sweat drop at what he did. "Alright, hand over the old man," he said. "And who are you?" said Sasuke, but Kakashi answered for him. "Momochi Zabuza, the devil in the mist," said Kakashi. "Well, I think you know me, copycat Kakashi," Well, enough of this hidden mist, just you, said Zabuza as the entire area they were in around them was covered with mist. Team, I need you to protect Tazuna, said Kakashi as they nodded and formed a protective circle around him. Heart, liver, lungs, jugular vein, kidneys and brain, said Zabuza as his voice came from all around them. What? Stammered Sakura. I can kill you all in every way I said so chose, said Zabuza, whose voice they still didn't know where they came from. As Kakashi looked back, he could see an outline of Zabuza and yelled out, Team 7, he's behind you. As the rest of the team to see Zabuza about to bring down his giant sword until Kakashi over his team and kick Zabuza right in the face. It knocked him back. Kakashi, you may be strong but I'm stronger, as he started building up massive amount of ki, which could be seen around him. His color ki is like a water blue. Looks like I'm going to have to fight him as well, Kakashi said as he started to build up ki himself. His is like a light red color. They're building up ki, it just makes you want to kill yourself, Sasuke said as he didn't notice himself pulling a kunai to his neck. Sasuke, I will protect all of you if it even costs me my life, said Kakashi as it was able Sasuke to calm down and notice how close the kunai to his neck. Alright, let's go, said Kakashi as he disappeared along with Zabuza. As the group tried to look for them, Miko had looked up and soon the rest followed to see or hear like mini explosions in the air. Now when the two Dragon Ball Z characters disappeared and they fight in the sky, the white explosions of energy, they could see Zabuza and Kakashi a bit as they were fighting on the same level of power. But as they were jumping into the air after about doing this for 30 minutes, they were exchanging blows for blows, neither one giving up until Kakashi appeared ready to give the next blow until he couldn't find Zabuza and didn't notice it until it was too late. He then looked behind him and was knocked to the ground hard by a dropkick by Zabuza. When Kakashi hit the ground, he looked around to find he was underwater and stared swimming to the top. When he got to the top, he breathed in a flash of air and was wondering what water was doing here. Wait, water here, but there wasn't water here before, Kakashi said. Oh shit. He then realized as he tried to get out of the water, but it was too late. Suiru no just you water prison technique, Zabuza yelled out, which then trapped Kakashi in the ball. I've got you now, copycat ninja, said Zabuza, and now I deal with your team with a Mizu Bunshin. As he did the hand signs with one hand and the Bunshin formed to go battle with the team. Back with the group. The group had seen Kakashi go down into the ground but heard no explosion. Do you think Sensei is dead? Said Sakura. No, he couldn't be, they were fighting evenly, said Miko. Come on, let's go over there and find out, said Naruto. Wait, Naruto, I hear something, said Sasuke as they were looking into the mist and Zabuza came walking out. He did kill Kakashi-sensei, Sakura said as she panicked. No, he couldn't have. Something's different about him, said Miko. Yeah, he only has a 1/8 of his power level, said Naruto. Maybe we can take him, said Sasuke. Alright, Sakura and Miko. You guys protect Tazuna and me with Sasuke will take Zabuza, said Naruto as they both charged ready to take him on. As Naruto tried to go for a sweep kick which made Zabuza jump up and Sasuke drive a kick down into Zabuza's head, but he then grabbed Sasuke's leg and threw him into the ground. Aw! Screamed Sasuke as he met the ground face first. Damn it, Sasuke, said Naruto as Naruto started his chain of combos knocking Zabuza into the sky. Naruto's move Rage's Fist. He knocks you into the sky by getting close to you and uppercuts you and jumps higher into the sky as he keeps knocking his opponent up to keep him higher until he teleports right above you and dropkicks you back down to earth. Now Naruto was about to finish the move until he pushed his hands together and concentrated energy into his hands and pushed his hands close to Zabuza's body. Ah! He screamed out as a huge energy shot out of his hands and the Mizu Bunshin with the fog were destroyed. As Naruto came back to the ground by using Kawarimi no just you to get back to the ground safely. You idiot, could have got yourself killed, yelled Miko. Sorry Miko-chan, but I had to get rid of the mist as well, said Naruto. Well, that kid is full of surprises, right, Kakashi, said Zabuza. Look over there, said Sakura. There's Zabuza and Kakashi-sensei in the Wonder Ball, said Sasuke trying to make a joke. Come on Sasuke, we have to try and get him out, said Naruto in a dull tone. Hey loser, what's wrong with you, said Sasuke. Nothing, Sasuke. Catching his slip-up, said Naruto as they charged Zabuza but were stopped by a Mizu Bunshin. Sasuke, let me handle the Bunshin. Just get Miko and go after Zabuza, Naruto yelled out as he started fight the Bunshin with his shadow clones. Come on Miko, as he stopped in front of the water and Miko had joined up with him. Let's show him what two Uchihas can do, said Miko. Great fire beam. They both yelled as a large energy beam shot out of their hands and straight towards Zabuza. Zabuza, having no choice, had to let go of the prison, freeing Kakashi as he fell underwater again and Zabuza jumping out of the way in time. But as they finally freed Kakashi, they had heard a large explosion, and it came from where Naruto was at. A few minutes before with Naruto. As his two teammates were freeing Kakashi, he had to fight the Mizu Bunshin, which was an easy fight. I'll test one of my new moves on you, said Naruto as he charged the Bunshin like last time. But this time the Bunshin had started to shoot energy blasts at Naruto to keep him away. But Naruto had started dodging the beams and getting close until he was right in front of him, and kicked the Bunshin straight into the air, and Naruto put his hands together and built as much energy he could take and shot it out as a ball, and before he yelled, "Big bang explosion!" As the energy bomb flew straight at that Bunshin at a high speed, it destroyed it, also causing a large explosion in the sky. Alright, time to get back with the others, said Naruto. Back at the clearing. Naruto, what the hell was that? Said Sasuke. That was me trying one of my new moves, replied Naruto. Alright Team 7, protect Tazuna like before and I'll handle Zabuza, said Kakashi. Come on Zabuza, let's go, Kakashi said as he pulled back his headband, revealing the Sharingan. So it's true you did copy over 1,000 technique, Zabuza said. The Sharingan helped though both Miko and Sasuke. Fine then, Kakashi said. Suiryuden no just you, Suiryuden no just you. Hey stop it, stop, I'm gay. That's nice. The first guy is Zabuza and the second guy is Kakashi. And while Zabuza was getting angry over what Kakashi did, he had looked into the Sharingan and saw that there was an image of himself behind Kakashi. Wait, is it true? Can he actually see into the future? Said Zabuza, not noticing Kakashi finishing the hand seals. Suiryuden no just you, Kakashi screamed out as the just you had hit its mark and Zabuza was forced into a couple of trees. And the rest of the team with Tazuna rushed up to Kakashi to see what happened, only to see Zabuza against the tree and about to get up but was impaled against the neck by a hunter nin that appeared. It seems we were after the same target, but I will take him back to my payers because they want the body, said the hunter nin as the person left. Wait, don't hunter nins said Kakashi as he then fainted onto the floor. Kakashi sensei. They all yelled, then ran up to him to see that he was okay, only to find out that he just ran out of energy. Hey Tazuna, how far is your house? Said Sasuke. Not that far actual, he said. Alright Naruto, help me carry Kakashi, Sasuke then said, and they were walking once again to Tazuna's house, hoping that the worst was over. Kakashi had gotten up and found himself in a living room that he didn't know of and saw a woman in the kitchen. So you're up, she said. What did I do? He though, Sasuke, Sakura, Miko and Naruto, get down here, your sensei is up, she said. They all came down to see Kakashi awake. Hey Kakashi sensei, said Sakura. Where are we? Said Kakashi. We're at Tazuna's house, Kakashi sensei. We came after you fought Zabuza, said Sasuke as Kakashi started to remember and realized, Zabuza is still alive. Said Kakashi. Wait, what? Replied Miko. That hunter nin that came. Said Kakashi. But aren't hunter nins supposed to take the bodies? Asked Naruto. No, they're supposed to take the head or the sword to confirm he's dead, replied Kakashi. Which is stupid, I might add, and Zabuza might return to come and fight us, but with the damage I did on him he might not show up for 2 weeks. He then added. Then that's how long we have left to complete the bridged, replied Tazuna as he came into the room. It's actual going better now that I came back because now the people now have more faith. He then added, alright Team 7, tomorrow we're going to do some training together, so get some rest, Kakashi said as he then fell back to sleep, dreaming about his beloved book. And the rest of the team soon went back upstairs because they had already ate dinner and it was late, so they decided to call it a night. Upstairs, Sasuke had saw Miko about to go into Naruto's room, but caught her at the door. Come on Miko, why do you keep being with Naruto? Said Sasuke. Well, it's kinda about something, replied Miko, not really want to tell. Well, what is it, other than that you like him? Said Sasuke, only to get hit over the head with a frying pan that she pulled from nowhere. Oh my god, it's like Grand Theft Auto all over again, because where does he pull it out from? I mean, come on, there has to be an answer. Come on Miko, you don't have to hit me that hard, said Sasuke as he noticed she wasn't there anymore and there was a locking sound. Damn, how could she outsmart me again? Sasuke asked to no one. Damn, looks like I'm saying with Sakura again. Sasuke added as he then entered her room and she giggled. I'm so going to get Naruto back, said Sasuke. Miko and Naruto's room at Tezuna's. As Miko locked the door, she could hear talking coming from Sasuke as he went down the hallway, and as she then turned around to look at the thing she admired sleeping on the futon covered up to his neck. She then sneaked over as quietly as possible and got under the covers with him. Once she was under the covers, she looked at him. He looks so cute when he sleeps, as she pushed her hand against his cheek. But when she did that, it caused him to purr like a fox, which caused her to blush, and started to fall asleep slowly as she then slowly once again got face to face with him and kissed him softly on the lips, to which she then fell asleep with her head next to his. But at the door, peeking slightly ajar, was Sasuke, watching as he smiled at least once for his sister and shut the door and to sleep himself to be ready for tomorrow. The next day, Naruto had woken up in the morning with feeling on his chest, so he peeked his eyes to see Miko sleeping on his chest. But when he tried to move, he could feel his hand being held by hers. Naruto-kun, Miko said. Is she dreaming about me? Naruto said. Naruto-kun, I love you, she said again in her sleep. She loves me, he said, shaking, as then tears formed in her eyes. As he then kissed her forehead and said, it's time to get up, sleepily head. As Miko got up, she blushed. I wait until she tells me. He though, alright, let's go downstairs and meet Kakashi, he then said, which Miko then nodded to as they then went downstairs to the kitchen. In the kitchen, Sakura was once again being Sakura and pestering Sasuke for a date when they got back to Konoha. Man, this girl never gives up. Sasuke though, please Sasuke, let's go on a date once we get back home, said Sakura as she asked for the 5th time. For the last time, no Sakura, replied Sasuke, starting to get annoyed as he then saw his sister walking downstairs with Naruto. Hey guys, how's Kakashi-sensei? Said Naruto. Sleeping like a log, replied Sasuke. I heard that, as he walked into the room on couches. So after we eat breakfast, we're heading out to the forest to train, Kakashi then added, and as soon as Kakashi finished, the woman from early came in. Hope you guys are hungry, said Tsunami as she was bringing breakfast. Tsunami, where's Tezuna? Asked Sakura. He's upstairs still asleep and won't begin working on the bridge till tomorrow, Tsunami replied. So that gives us enough time to practice what I'm going to teach you, said Kakashi as he then began eating, and soon the rest ate as well so they can see what Kakashi had to teach them. After dinner, alright team, let's head to the forest, said Kakashi. But why, Kakashi-sensei, can't we learn what we need to know here? Asked Sakura. Silly Sakura, we need to go to the woods to learn what I'm going to teach you, Kakashi said. Alright then, pack a lunch because we might be there for a while, he then added as he left the front door. In the forest. Alright gang, we're here, said Kakashi as he brought them to a foot of the forest that has high trees. Alright team, today we will be learning how to climb trees, said Kakashi. But sensei, we already learned how to climb trees at the academy, said Sakura as she tried to act smart for Sasuke. No Sakura, not with your hands but your feet alone, said Kakashi, and Sakura trying to hide from being embarrassed. Kakashi-sensei, how do we do this? Asked Miko. It's easy, all you have to do is apply charka to your feet and start walking up the tree, replied Kakashi. Now everyone get to work, as he then sat next to a tree and started reading his book, which he giggled at the whole time they were training. Team 7's lesson on how to tree climb. The lesson had started out as all the genin did not know how to get chakra into their feet. But Miko then had an idea in her head. Maybe I should build chakra into my feet, she though, as she began consecrating. Miko, what are you doing? Naruto had asked. Learning the lesson, she said as they were in an empty clearing. Kakashi had went a little far to read his book and Sasuke had to lose Sakura as she kept pestering him, so they were stuck in the clearing themselves. Hey Miko, you're doing good, Naruto had said as she was able to get up half tree in half an hour. But Naruto was still having problems still getting up the tree and could only get up by 1/3. Thanks Naruto-kun, she had said with a blush on her face. Come on Miko, Naruto, it's time for dinner, said Kakashi appearing from nowhere. But sensei, what about Sakura and Sasuke? Said Naruto. They're back at the house, replied Kakashi as he began leaving the forest and back to Trazuna's with Naruto and Miko following closely behind. Back at Tazuna's. Man, I want some pancakes, I'll be back. Naruto, Miko and Kakashi entered the house to see Sakura pestering Sasuke about asking for a date. Tazuna was happy and drunk. There was Tsunami laughing at the time her guest and family were having, and a small boy was in the corner eating to himself, talking to no one as well. But as soon as he saw the three people who came in, he took his food and went up to the room upstairs. Tsunami, who's that? Said Sakura. Oh, that's my son, replied Tsunami. Well, what's his name? Sakura then said again. His name is Inari. Again replied Tsunami as Kakashi, Naruto and Miko had just got to the table. Alright Sasuke, what happened to you? Said Naruto. She doesn't shut up ever, replied Sasuke, wishing that she leave him alone. Come on Sasuke, it can't be that bad, Naruto said. You have no idea, he replied as they then started eating. So Sasuke, have you gotten far on the tree climbing? Asked Naruto. Not that far, only a third up the tree, replied Sasuke. Well, I already finished, replied Naruto until he was playfully hit over the head. Come on Naruto, don't try and get my big brother down, and you two are at 1/3 of the tree as well, Miko replied as Sasuke had a smug look on his face. Well, loser, you're not as good as they said you were, replied Sasuke as Naruto then got an idea in his head. Hey Sakura, Sasuke said you can sleep in the same bed as him even though he denies that he likes you, Naruto said as his thoughts were revenge. UUMMTHTHN and KSKS Naruto, Sakura said with a blush as in her mind was, Shinro. As her inner mind thought. She scares me. But because Sasuke wasn't around to hear it as he finished his dinner and went back upstairs to sleep, which Sakura followed shortly after. Kakashi had left his food right next to him so that he could eat when no one was looking and started reading his book once again, as Tazuna had knocked out from too much drinking and Tsunami was in the kitchen washing the dishes. When you guys are done, put the bowels in the kitchen, said Tsunami as she went upstairs and went to bed herself, and a while later Naruto with Miko had finished their food. Naruto-kun, I have a bad feeling something will happen, said Miko worrying. Don't worry Miko-chan, I will protect you no matter what, said Naruto giving her his foxy grin. Alright Naruto-kun, Miko said as she had a huge blush on her face. Alright Naruto-kun, see you tomorrow, Miko said as she went upstairs. Alright Miko-chan, see you in a minute, replied Naruto as he walked by Kakashi sleeping with an empty bowl right next to him. I wonder what's under the mask, as Naruto goes to take a peek. I wouldn't do that if I was you, as Naruto heard from Kakashi as Naruto, though he was sleeping, so he picked up that bowl and put it in the sink as Naruto slowly went to bed. Zabuza's hideout. We see Zabuza on a bed looking weak as the hunter Nin before came in. Haku, you're here. What happened? Asked Zabuza. You were about to be killed by Kakashi, said Haku, but as soon as they were talking a fat little man came in by the name of Gato. So you failed in killing the bridge builder. What am I paying you for? Said Gato as he entered the room with two swordsmen bodyguards. I didn't know they would have the copycat ninja with him, said Zabuza. Well then I think we have a as he replied and then screamed out because he was slowly reaching for the bed. But Haku had then grabbed Gato's arm and broke it in two. Do not touch Master Zabuza, replied Haku having senbons in one hand and energy charge up in the other hand. Damn it you bitch, yelled out Gato as he held his arm in pain. That's what you get for trying to hurt Master Zabuza, replied Haku as Gato's swordsmen had their swords ready to fight. Just kill the old man and you will get your money, said Gato as he left and his henchmen had follow. Zabuza, I will start to get the herbs to heal you. Just give me a day or two, said Haku. Alright, but we still have 2 weeks to kill the old man, so we need to strike, replied Zabuza. Yes Master Zabuza, I will hurry, Haku said, disappearing as well. The next day, the team had once again gotten up and were in front of Tazuna's house. Alright team, I want you all to proceed with your training. But Sakura will protect the build while I will protect Tazuna's family while you three practice your tree climbing some more, said Kakashi as they once again begin with their duties. Sasuke, Naruto and Miko went to the forest to train in tree climbing some more until half the day went by. Miko had finally got to the top and Naruto with Sasuke couldn't be happier for her as they were only halfway up the tree. So loser, want to continue tomorrow? Sasuke asked. Yeah, that would be good, Naruto said as they returned to Tezuna's. Also, it's still day out. At the Wave Village. Thanks for coming shopping with me, Sakura, said Tezuna as they were walking around the village. That was when Sakura felt something behind her, and though it was a pervert trying to touch her ass. So she turned around just to see a little kid that was after her purse. Sakura, feeling bad for the kid, reached into her purse to grab a piece of candy for the boy. Here you go. As she gave the candy to the boy and had said, thank you, before running off. Come on, Sakura, let's head to the store to buy some food, said Tezuna as they continued to the store. As they got to the store, Sakura had saw the condition it was in and saw there was almost no food on sale. Where's the food? Asked Sakura. Well, because of Gato there's barely enough food coming to the nation, replied Tezuna, sad for the people of the Wave as well. Then we have to protect you and bridge that will bring the country back on its feet, said Sakura while Tezuna was nodding while getting any food he could for his family, and they both returned to the house to make dinner for the both of them. At Tezuna's house, Sakura had gotten back with Tezuna to see her crush Sasuke there sitting down and looked about to fall asleep, so she made her move but failed as Sasuke made a sprint for the stairs. As Tezuna went into the kitchen and gave Tsunami the food he got in town so she can start dinner, he called everyone down to tell them that dinner would be ready soon. But if you look at everyone in the house, you could see Kakashi on the couch reading his porn and giggling. Sasuke trying to hide from Sakura and Sakura hunting him down to ask him for more dates. Tezuna was trying to get drunk but his daughter Tsunami stopped him, and Naruto was laying on the couch and with Miko on top of him sleeping while he was bushing her hair. He ran his hand through her hair. Dinner's ready, everyone, was heard from Tsunami as they all got up and started to go to the kitchen. Miko-chan, it's time to get up, said Naruto as he gently nudged her, but she didn't want to get up. Come on, Miko-chan, it's time for dinner, Naruto said again as he nudged her again, and she opened her eyes a bit. Naruto-kun, she had said. Come on, we have to go to dinner, he said as he led her there. As they got to the table, they saw Sasuke covered in lipstick. Hey Sasuke, what happened? Asked Naruto. Sakura happened, he replied as they had began eating. But the kid named Inari came down and had to yell at them at something he kept inside of him for so long. Why do you protect us? He screamed. Because it's our job, Naruto said. Gato will kill you. Inari then said. He won't kill me or any of us, Naruto replied, and that's when Inari had enough. You just don't know suffering that's in the Wave, because back at your home where all of you lived a good and comfortable life, Inari yelled out, but at that caused Naruto to snap inside at hearing this. Sasuke and Miko with Sakura were getting angry as the kid talked. Sakura was getting angry because part of her family died in the Kyuubi attack, Miko and Sasuke for the Uchiha massacre, and Naruto remembering all the beatings he ever got in Konoha, which almost made Naruto get up and blast a hole through the kid's head, but instead he left trying to find to take his angry out on. At least the boy can control his angry, said Kakashi, but then noticed Miko trying to follow Naruto. No Miko, he has to be alone, Kakashi told her. Alright Kakashi-sensei, as she went upstairs to cry at the horrible dreams she managed to suppress all those years ago coming back. Kakashi-san, what's wrong with your team? Said Tsunami as Inari listened on them to make sure that he was right all along, thinking that Naruto threw a fit. Well, Sakura had lost most of her family in the Kyuubi attack. Sasuke and Miko are the last of her family, and Miko keeps having nightmares about Itachi, but Naruto was beaten every day of his life for no reason, but because of his bloodline. As he put it, he survived the most scaring of injures, said Kakashi and Inari, trying to think of a way to apologize to them. But as Sasuke heard her having nightmares about Itachi and rushed to her room, but found she wasn't there, but her window was open. She must have went to find Naruto, then I might as well look for them, said Sasuke. Then when he was about to jump, Kakashi stopped him. Let them be alone, they need it, said Kakashi, and Sasuke only glared but gave in and went to bed, and this time he was finally away from Sakura. In the forest, Naruto had taken his rage out on the trees that when he was in the training for charka tree walking. The trees were ripped apart, some even destroyed completely up to the stump. Naruto was taking a rest after all the destruction he caused and heard someone coming. As he got ready, he had saw Miko come through the bush and then let his guard down. Naruto, what happened? Miko cried out as he saw tears in her eyes. Miko-chan, what happened to you? He asked. Well, the dreams were coming back again after you left, and I just kept thinking you were going to die because of me, she replied. Miko, I would never blame you, he said as he brought her in a comforting hug. But as he was holding her he looked down to see her asleep. "Good night Miko-chan." As he put his arms around her and she used his chest as an pillow and kissed her on the forehead before going to sleep himself. In an unknown place. What happened? Where am I? No, I'm in a cage, as the great beast touched the bars and opened in front of her. Wait, I'm supposed to be sealed. What has been going on? As she left to check her containers past. Another unknown place. The deal is broken, so I have no use for this soul. As he spited out a man that was from 13 years ago and the RW him back to the living. Konoha Park. The third was taking a walk in the park until he saw a strange light appear in front of him. What's this? The third had said as he saw the fourth Hokage reappeared right before on the ground in the same cloths that he died in. Sortobi. The fourth had said in a soft tone. Sortobi had smiled and then called for the Anbu. Anbu, bring this man to the hospital. He said as the Anbu teleported to the hospital. By Kami, are you mocking us or blessing us? As he teleported to the hospital himself. The next morning with Naruto and Miko. Naruto and Miko got up next morning to hear singing. As they went towards it they saw a girl picking herbs out of the ground. "Ah, I didn't see you there," she said. What are you doing?" asked Miko. "I'm picking herbs for a sick friend," said the girl. What's your name?" asked Naruto. "My name is Haku," she said. "Yes, I'm making Haku a girl, so what looks like a girl is a girl." "You think we can help you, Haku, if it's alright?" asked Miko. "Sure you can," said Haku. "And my name is Naruto and this is Miko," said Naruto. "It's nice to meet the both of you," Haku replied. "So let's up you, Haku," Naruto and Miko both said. 1 hour later. "Alright, thank you for helping me," said Haku. Naruto, "What is the most important thing to you?" Haku then added. "The most important thing to me is Miko," he said in a dulled tone which caused Miko to blush that he mentioned her. "You are strong if you do have someone to protect," she said. Then goodbye Haku, as he left with Miko back to the house, when they were found by Sasuke. "Where have you two been?" he asked Naruto. "Decide to annoy him?" "In the forest by ourselves," Naruto said, which caused Sasuke's imagination to run wild. "We didn't do anything, Sasuke," Miko said, and put Sasuke's mind to ease as Naruto started getting tried. "Miko-chan, I'm going to bed," as Naruto yawned and went inside the house to sleep, and rest followed. The next day, Miko, Sasuke, Sakura and Kakashi got up and went to guard Tazuna on the bridge. Kakashi-sensei, where's Naruto?" Sakura asked. "He's sleeping, he needs his rest after what happened yesterday," replied Kakashi. As they got to the bridge they saw fog all over the place. "No, Zabuza is here," as they saw him walking out of the fog.